Hello and welcome to my Yu-Gi-Oh channel. So today we're looking at some of the element cards, and I'm not talking about the element sabers, nor am I talking about the elemental heroes. I'm talking about the original element cards. These were a series of cards which introduced different effects based on which attributes were on the field. So some would have like boosting effects, some would have control effects, some negation effects. We're just going to cover what these are. And hopefully, Konami in the future might actually consider making this an actual deck. So the first one is Element Doom. This is a dark attribute, level 4 Fiend type with 1500 attack and 1200 defense. This monster gets the following effects while there is a monster or monsters with the following attributes on the field. Earth attribute, negate the effect of an effect monster that this card destroys by battle. And if it's a wind type, attribute, if this card destroys your opponent's monster by battle, it can once again attack in a row. So both effects are quite useful, and both attributes, even though wind isn't as common as the earth attribute, but both have a decent effect and actually can be useful in different circumstances. Negating the effects of monsters sent to the graveyard means you prevent floating effects or additional effects which will set off a chain reaction within your opponent's deck. The other aspect is, of course, the wind attribute enables you to be able to attack not only into potentially other monsters that your opponent has, but in maybe even to attack directly. It doesn't have that restriction. I call it the ultimate Tyranno restriction, which only lets you attack into monsters. Element Dragon is a light attribute dragon type level 4 with 1500 attack and 1200 defense. This monster gets the following effects while there is a monster with the following attributes on the field. Fire attribute, this card gains 500 attack, and wind, if this card destroyed your opponent's monster by battle, it can attack once again in a row. Okay, so for fire attribute monsters, that means this becomes a 2000 attack monster that if you've got a wind attribute on the field as well, it can attack twice in a turn. These are decent effects to combine together, but the problem is it's very simplistic and it needs to have more of an advanced effect. The general idea of the element cards means that it's not just the monsters that you have on the field, it's also your opponent's monsters that make the difference. So if they're running a fire attribute deck and you've got some wind types, you can get the full effect of this card. Element Magician is a light attribute spellcaster, level 4 with 1500 attack and 1200 defense. This monster gets the following effects while there is a monster with the following attributes on the field. Water attribute, the control of this card cannot switch, and the wind attribute, if this card destroyed your opponent's monster by battle, it can once again attack in a row. So the brand new attribute to look at is the water one. Being able to prevent your opponent from taking control of this card isn't that relevant considering its stat lineup. I don't think your opponent is really going to be bothered to deal with this card, especially for the meager stat line. I would love to see it if Konami made new up-to-date versions with much better effects, or a bonus effect if you manage to get if you manage to meet both conditions of the attribute monsters you have already. Element Soldier is a dark attribute fiend type level 4 with 1500 attack and 1200 defense. This monster gets the following effects while there is a monster with the following attributes on the field. Water attribute, control of this card cannot be switched, and earth attribute, negate the effects of an effect monster that this card destroyed by battle. So this combines both water and earth. This is quite useful because both attributes are quite common. The earth attribute effect, I think, is just that little bit better. Elementsaurus is a dark attribute dinosaur level 4 with 1500 attack and 1200 defense. And it gains the following effects while there is a monster with the following attributes on the field. Fire attribute, this card gains 500 attack, and earth attribute negates the effects of effect monsters destroyed by battle with this card. Whilst I think this is really useful, and actually it did get shown within the anime, think it was Yu-Gi-Oh! GX Season 2. It was in the duel between the Light Brigade versus, it was a tag team duel between them and Tarana Hasselbury and Cyrus Truesdale. Elementsaurus was featured within that duel. It did get frozen out by Frost's spell and trap cards and actually got weakened significantly before actually being destroyed by Cyrus's card, which helped to recover their life points. The boosting effect is useful because actually it helps to pair with the Earth attribute effect to negate, as certain monsters might be a little bit stronger, and it helps to just boost that to a level where it's a bit more useful. And the final card is Element Valkyrie. It's a light attribute fairy type level 4 with 1500 attack and 1200 defense. This card is not treated as a Valkyrie card, so this is what's quite interesting as well. Whereas if you notice, all the other ones don't really have any of that text. They had to make a clarification because the name Valkyrie, you've got the Valkyrie archetype, so they had to make some separation to it. This monster gets the following effects while there is a monster with the following attributes on the field. Fire attribute, this card gains 500 attack, and water control of this card cannot switch. To be able to protect your monster from being switched if it has the 2000 attack points is decent. For a level 4, you don't get too many level 4s with 2000 attack. I know you get the photons who can boost themselves, but some of them actually destroy themselves in the process, or they have certain limitations like they cannot attack during that turn. This doesn't have any of those conditions. I love the design of the cards, and I think if Konami really put an effort in, they could make these cards viable within various types of decks. It's all dependent on what they want to look at in the future. The interesting side note of these cards as well is you will notice that 3 of them are dark attributes. So you've got Element Doom, you've got Element Soldier, and you've got Elementsaurus. And 3 are of the light attribute. So you've got Element Dragon, you've got Element Magician, and Element Valkyrie. I have no idea why they've done this. I suppose it's a way of synergizing all 6 attributes within one deck, because you might want to splash a bit of everything in. But the problem with that is, unless you get a specific type of deck that runs with these cards, they're not very useful. It's a shame because the artwork is pretty much lost on their design, and the thing is that I would imagine anyone who isn't an old Yu-Gi-Oh player would have no understanding of what these cards are, nor would they understand what they actually do. Make sure to like the video if you enjoyed it. Please enjoy the live stream. I'm trying to do this just to support the charity. If you can donate, that's always great. If you can't, just support, any way you can, even through your own fundraising efforts. And I hope you have a nice Christmas.